All right, guys, in the land of DeFi, I've dropped this video here. All the stuff in DeFi is trash, 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 and I've gotten a specific request about Paca Finance. And that was done a couple days ago. And come to find out, guys, while I thought I didn't know anything about it. I'd actually reviewed it like 5 months ago when another user asked me about it. So we are going to go over that so you guys can have an understanding of what's going on with Paca Finance from Mista Phi's perspective, because I'm going to share with you the real. And you guys that are behind Paca Finance, if I'm saying anything that is not correct, always feel free to come drop a comment in the description or the comments area, or head over to the forum and share your platform, answer the questions, whatever the case is, because I posted a review of Paca Finance in our crypto forum, which I will get to later. Now, in this particular video here, when I was talking about all these other DeFi projects and comparing them with our Bitcoin wallets, we had your Mercedes guy, come through and ask about Paca Finance. So going forward, guys, rather if I'm going to give a long, detailed explanation rather than just posting it on YouTube and allowing YouTube to get my precious content that they could use, I am directing everything over to forum posts. Okay, so if you guys want to go out and read over this will break down um, my thoughts about not just Pocket Finance, but all DeFi projects or any project that you invest in the crypto space. And this can potentially save you some huge headaches and save you some money, right? All right, so I replied to the Mercedes guy, right? And I said, projects that require locking up of your capital are a huge red flag for me. Looks like this protocol locks up your capital for 250 days. Understand, guys, that a lot can happen in a day, let alone 250 days. So imagine your capital being locked up for 200 days, 250 days. That's a long time, guys. And who knows what could happen during that period. And what I did when this particular viewer asked about it, I actually did not even realize that I had already done a little research on Pocket Finance 5 months ago. But when he asked about it, I went out to YouTube, just did a search on Pocket Finance, and Crypto Mischief's video came up. So I'd listened to this video, and he gave a pretty good roundabout idea of what Pocket Finance does. So if you want to know about it, you can shoot out to his his video here, and that link will be in the forum, so you can go. And I also gave him props because whereas this was one of the guys that would just push projects for those referral rewards, um, he's not doing that for the referral rewards. He's actually sharing some of the risks that are involved with this project. So that I can respect. And we'll jump on to the second one because this is a huge thing for me, man. I'm not locking up my capital anywhere, nothing that requires the locking up of capital, okay? Especially for that long, okay? Second thing I say, it seems that Pocket Finance's operations depend on and are subject to the operations of other pools. If these pools shut down or get hacked, Pocket Finance and its investors and investors of their protocol will suffer losses as well. So additional risks come with each level of dependency. So understand this, guys. It's not just Paca Finance and the guys behind Paca Finance that you have to put your faith and trust in. There are other third-party resources that they're using, right? Whether they're pools, companies, this, that, whatever the case is. If these systems rug or if they shut down, you will encounter the same thing that you encountered with that shutdown, whatever happened. Um, where Paca Finance was out of business for a minute, right? So while it might not be the devs or the people behind this protocol that are doing anything wrong, their associations with other platforms presents an additional risk for you that you, number one, you do want to be aware of, and number two, understand that you can lose your money to those platforms as well. Okay. Number three, additional risks come from the necessity to manually manage the pools. If something happens to the person or the people that are managing the pools, or if they get burned out or whatever the case is, the income stream would be non-existent and payouts would then be subject to Ponzi-nomics. Okay, meaning that if the system continue to flow out, the money that's come in is going to be used to pay the people that are getting out of the system, right? Because it has to have some stream of revenue to be sustainable, right? And just like part three here, I mentioned in part four, if the person managing the pool is unable to generate sufficient income over the protocol's payouts, that is, will cover the protocol's payouts, then Posinomics will kick in as well, right? So imagine you got the guy back there, he's managing the pools, making sure they're in the right range, and then it gets out of range a few days and he's not able to make money, but he loses money through impermanent loss, then that's not benefiting the whole ecosystem, right? And then, of course, it's going to take more money that's coming in to pay out those money, that the monies that are going out. Okay, so you have that aspect to be concerned with as well. And ultimately, and here's one thing about Ponzi's, guys. Ponzi's can exist, and they can exist for a long period of time, a year, 2 years, 3 years, right? But when they get popular and more people start flooding into it, you get closer to the point where there there's not enough income coming in to sustain the payouts. So if you guys are looking at projects that have Ponzinomics associated with them, don't just dismiss it because it's been running for 1, 2, 3, 4 years, right? Understand what's going on behind the scenes, because yeah, it can be running up and you can make money in a Ponzi, but you got to get in early enough in order to profit, right? So with that said, let's go to number five, the US dollar payout. And it's good this is in USDT, right? But the payout is too slow, especially for those of us that are Bitcoin maxis, which I am now a full-blown Bitcoin maxi. I play with all the other coins and DeFi projects. And like I say, my portfolio would have been much better had I just remained in Bitcoin. And this is why I no longer support other protocols. I build solutions on top of Bitcoin because Bitcoin is the asset that we all want and need, right? And I say especially now when the market is at the cups of a potential bull run. Why in the world would I take my Bitcoin or my assets and put it in US dollar, a depreciating asset, when I can put it in Bitcoin and allow that Bitcoin to increase over time? That just doesn't make sense, So I don't want anything sitting in USDT that's not going to make me some substantial returns in the short term. And I'm definitely not going to put that in there for 250 days to lock it up, right? So I say it's better to buy and hold Bitcoin because number one, I have access to my capital. If I put it in Paca Finance, I don't have access to it anymore. I get a slow feed every day, but the amount that I put in is gone, right? Number two, my capital is not at risk. I'm not risking my cryptocurrency if I just go buy and hold Bitcoin. I'm not putting it in somebody else's hands, okay? And number three, Bitcoin's price appreciation could very well produce greater returns, particularly when this bull cycle continues this year. Okay, so that is my response as of a few days ago to Mercedes guy question. And now we are going to reflect back on what I had mentioned 5 months ago, because this video came up here back when I was reviewing Titan X and exposing the faults and the issues that they had, which we see today is a crumbling token, right? But one of my viewers, Jason Stewart, shout out to you, bro. He came along and said, can you or Drip Coach do a video on those 6 or so YouTubers who always promote the same things and list all the failures they have promoted? That's interesting that you say this, bro, because I kind of did something similar to that, in that video right here, right? While I didn't necessarily talk about the influencers, I talked about the projects, but we all know which influencers were promoting which projects, right? But he says 2 of them have created another piece of something called Paca Finance, which has a 250-day lockup. What could go wrong there? So my boy Jason here has awakened. All right, so he knows what the deal is, and he's not falling for that anymore. And I mean, just like I say, that's a red flag, guys. These are things you want to look at out for from the jump. Once you look at a project, check out a few things and say, hey, does this fall in line with my risk tolerance? Are you really willing to give someone just throw your money away like that, or have them lock it up for a long period of time? But I replied to Jason. I say, I have to revisit this one. Got a ton of work on my plate and have to be wise on how I spend my time. Exposing these guys brings no money and doesn't help the promotion or adoption of our projects. So better to stay focused on continued innovation over exposing the endless number of crap in the space. All right, so I pretty much say, okay, well, we'll pass this on. Maybe Drip Coach can look into it or something, right? But nevertheless, it did pique my curiosity to see, hey, what's going on with this? And so I did a little research, and I replied to Jason here. He said, I did a quick read on the white paper for Paca Finance and checked out a video. It's not as bad as other projects that I've seen in DeFi. And this is because, guys, they were not offering some crap token that that they mint and issue to you guys for free, where you pay for it, they can mint as much as they want to, and then the price is going to dump. You're going to be holding worthless tokens, blase, blase. So that is a good thing. So that's why I say they're not as bad as some other DeFi projects. So here are the pros that I listed. Your capital is not locked up in a worthless token that's minted for free, and that'll eventually go to zero. You're able to withdraw the same asset that you invested, which is USDT, which I specify here. You earn in a stable coin. These are the pros. No additional fees beyond the blockchain's transaction fees are assessed to enter or exit the position. So these contracts are not taking in any extra fees that you have to pay in order to participate, which is a good thing. They say that there were no dev fees applicable, and devs will earn based on their performance. That's an honorable thing. Got to respect that if that's the case. There's no sign of referral payouts thus far, which is also a good thing. Shout out to those that aren't trying to pump and dump, get their stuff out there real quick, steal the money and run with it. Do a slow and grassroots grind. Okay. They have indicated plausible ways to generate revenue for the ecosystem, which can be more sustainable than a Ponzi if liquidity is managed properly and not siphoned out of the system. So again, this kind of taps back into something I had mentioned in my most recent post here. Are they able to manage the resources properly and generate enough revenue from it, right? Now, here come the cons. That is an excessive lockup period, which was already talked about. 250 days is extreme, and who knows if the system will still be around that long. This opens the window for a large amount of capital to come in over time, allowing the devs and their partners to steal more capital, either by rugging the project or through so-called exploits. Or, guys, they can just siphon small amounts of money out of the system. You don't know what they're doing, okay? Yes, they can be trustworthy, but are the yields coming out the way they're supposed to, right? So that's something that you want to look out for and always be cautious of, all right? There's a great risk of losing money through impermanent loss. I kind of described that a little bit, and I mentioned that earlier, right? If the person managing the funds is not able to manage that properly, then there will be losses. The third con, I said, Stunner Breezy is promoting it. Not sure if he's getting kickbacks on the back end or what. Because again, this is what they do, guys. We know Bartertown was in cahoots with Forex Shark. They collaborated before, right at the day one when the Drip Network dropped. And Stunner Breezy very well may have been in on that as well. I don't know, but I know he shields a lot of crap projects looking to see what he can get off of your back. So I say, dude is a straight gambler that tries every get-rich-quick scheme he can find, hoping to luck up on something so he can come back and say that I told you so, right? And in the meantime, he shields these shady projects to his followers, knowing that if he gets in and influences others to join after him, he has a better chance of gathering or generating profits, albeit off the back of his followers. He's essentially capitalizing off of the ignorance of his followers. And at this stage in the game, I'll say that their losses are well earned. So if you guys have not learned to stop following these guys and into every project that they present to you and start pumping those referral rewards in their pockets, you are losing out. Told you numerous times on how to use the referral system for your own benefit and not for those who are going to take money out of the system in a game that you are playing where you want to win. Okay. Now, here are some questionable things that I mentioned as well. To my cons number 2, this one here, what I say, it's not clear if the designers or developers are competent enough to manage the liquidity to consistently produce profits or sufficiently code and test to prevent potential exploits or automate processes to successfully manage the liquidity. All of these things are key, guys. Who over there is qualified to manage these pools? Have they shown success? Not behind the scenes where you can't see anything, but have they shown success in their own assets? Have you seen them documenting how they've taken $100 and turned that into $200, for example, right? Another thing is they're doing this manually. They need to be able to automate things like this, guys, in order to continue without effort on their part to produce revenue for the system. Because at some point in time, these guys are not going to last forever. They're going to eventually get burned out, and they need to have some automated processes in place. So if they don't have that, that's something I would encourage them to look into. Okay. Another thing that's questionable in regards to parts 3, the pros, part 3 and 4. We've got to remember that this is DeFi, and devs and influencers in the space historically keep certain aspects of the projects hidden. So you truly never know what's going on behind the scenes unless all the contracts publicly all of the contracts publicly available and vetted by someone that can actually read and understand the code, which is not the case in most instances. But if any of the contracts are associated with these projects are running behind a proxy, I advise to stay away. So when they're running behind a proxy, you can't really see what logic is being done, guys. So that would be a key for them to say, hey, stay away. And I got that as a tip from another Solidity dev. Number 3, I'd be curious to know how they amassed $7 million at such an early stage. Man, you guys are either really excited about giving your money away to projects that you know nothing about, or there were some investors at the jump ready to put money in. So that is a possibility, but you have to really be cautious on that, because if this is a Ponzi, those that are going to benefit the most are, number one, those that get in early, and number two, those that dump in a lot of money early. Think about this, guys, because if I came in with $1 million, day one, bam, I put $1 million out there. Now the system has to pay me, let's just say $300,000 back. All right, we keep it simple, $30,000 back, right? So I'm going to be getting my fee on a daily basis. And then a lot of you guys come in, you put in $100, $100, $100, $100. Well, guess what? All those little $100, if this thing doesn't generate some serious revenue, all those little $100 that you guys are putting in consistently are going to feed my bag, because I'm taking out a lot more each day, right? So you guys need to be aware of this total value lock stuff. Like I say, run from that. This is a dangerous game you guys are playing, and don't be impressed with TVLs, especially if there's a large amount at the beginning, because you know someone has already front run the project. So that's just, again, a little something that I find to be questionable. And then I saw that Lee Cryptopia did a video on Paca, and based on the info provided, it seems that he may be a part of the project. I'll reach out to him, and if he's and see if he'll give me the scoop on it and stuff like that. But then Jason replies, he said, I wouldn't go near it simply due to Scott, the investors. Now, I've heard of him, but I've never followed him, don't know what he does or anything like that. But he's probably one of these shillers that Jason mentioned here. So when I started looking into Elephant Money and Bank Teller, you guys gave me the same advice. Stay away from that clown. You know, don't touch him. Don't touch his projects. He's a scammer, all this type of stuff. And I was willing to give Bank Teller the benefit of the doubt until I discovered that he indeed is a scammer himself. Okay, and I discovered that firsthand and have been going in on him since then. So I just take Jason's advice and I just dropped it at this point. So that's my take on Paca Finance. Would I invest in Paca Finance with my personal assets? I will not. Will I use a safeguard through the digital crypto solutions wallets to invest in it and give you guys an opportunity to participate? I will not, because namely, this is not giving out enough income to justify going that route. Right now, it's paying 0.4% daily. And if I'm going to play in DeFi, I'm going to play with risk capital, money that I will literally take and throw away. Okay, guys? And if I'm going to do that, I want to get the most bang for my buck, which is why I chose to play with BitNest. You know, if I want 0.4%, I will go and just do a day stake into BitNest, right? But if I'm coming in and I want to make some money real fast, some substantial money, I mean, the best option is just that 28 day lockup period, right? Which is sufficient for my particular risks for the wallets. Okay, so we've already done that. That's in the process. It should be coming out in about a week or so, and we'll see if BitNest still remains in a week, 2 week, or a month, 2 months, 6 months, and as long as it does, we'll continue to play around with it. So these are the reasons I would not invest in Paca Finance. Not to say it's a bad thing, it's just does not fit within my particular risk tolerance. All right, guys, that's all I got for you in this video. We will holler on the next one. Peace out.